Alexis' dad, wow, just wow. I mean, Endo really felt like he'd nailed that role down before heading off to the Asian Cup.
You know, given the criticism the guy had playing as a number 6, now I don't think anyone would say he wasn't our first choice number 6. He's I don't know what it is about him. He sort of wins things he shouldn't win, and he comes away with he sort of scrabbles and suddenly is away, and then making a great pass. And on top of all the defensive stuff, the passing is superb.
And that's the really interesting thing about Mac Allister, because what he's not, and look, Endo's not this either, is if when it all breaks down and you're legging it back towards your goal, he's not going to outpace someone sprinting with the ball and put a big slide in and come away with it. That's not his game. It's not Endo's game. It's not many defensive midfielders' games that are therefore good enough to play for Liverpool. But what you then see is, he's tigerish, he gets stuck in, his anticipation is brilliant, so he actually gets to things ahead of time now, which I don't think he was earlier on in the season when Endo was doing brilliantly in December. But actually the amount of times then, in addition to that, we're in a little tricky situation and we play a quick little pass to him, and first time he's knocking it 30 yards down the pitch into feet, breaking the lines and putting us on the front foot. And that's the difference between him and what we think of as a number 6, Jamie. Everyone wants this idea of like a João Palhinha or some sort of defensive midfield. Yeah, God almighty.
Yeah. I think watching James McConnell the other day, he put in some crunching slide tackle, and they were bordering on. I was thinking, if you're going to be doing this, if you're playing in the Premier League, you might be getting the odd red, or in the future or whatever. But people want that from. Yeah, I think if I was picking if it was like the football version of Space Jam and we were playing the aliens, I'd pick a Mascherano in that role. Yeah. I wouldn't initially think to play a more passing style of 6, but there were a few 50-50s yesterday. I was thinking, is he going to really crunch it? But he'd just do like a really nice block tackle. No risk of getting a yellow or whatever. He'd still come away with the ball, and then he'd look up and like lob it over to the left wing or anything. You can't really ask for much more than that. There was one beautiful reverse pass. He kind of had his back to goal. It was left-footed, and he first time round the corner to whoever it was, Nunez or Diaz. That's the thing, that as good as Fabinho was at his peak, he didn't have anything like that range of passing or that. He was more of he would start moves off rather than play the killer ball. So yeah, very, very encouraging. And
it goes back to that desire thing as well, of like his anticipation's there, so he's snuffing out danger whereas they're trying to get out. He's then going into these block tackles, as we mentioned, so he's not committing himself by going to ground and doing the flashy stuff, but he's getting there, and you get a little touch on it, and then after that it's pure desire, because the ball breaks loose and it's then who gets to it first. And he was then, it's a centre of gravity, it's a power thing, it's a determination thing, and he wanted that more than the guy he was tackling ultimately, because you've seen that happen plenty of times where you can get that first tackle in, that's all right, but then to come away with the ball is the next part of the skill, and I think that's actually almost where he's making the 6 his own.
And let's not forget that he's sat watching Endo making a place for himself in that side, and he's going to come in, he's thinking, if I can't hold down the number 6, then I'm fighting against another group of players to try and get a place somewhere else.
Yeah, he's watching Szoboszlai hit these absolute howitzer strikes he's watching Curtis Jones pick up Lawrence left, right,
you've got Trent sort of creeping into that equation as well, and he's thinking to himself, I've got to get up, I've got to stand up and show I can do this, and that's what he's doing.
It's like that little injury break he had benefited him weirdly, like he got to go away and have a break and almost digest everything he's learned to date. And we do this, we forget this a lot, because everyone's been saying all season, it took Fabinho half a season to learn how to play, it took Andy Robertson half a season, we get, under Klopp it takes a while to get used to how to perform, and yet almost at the same time we were saying that here and then going, but I don't think Mac Allister's up to speed, I don't think he's good enough to play in the 6, and all of a sudden we're into the second half of the season, and lo and behold, Wataru Endo and Alexis Mac Allister are both looking really, really good in that position, having had time to digest the role.
I'm just thinking, we're going for 4 trophies. Our wider squad, you got Endo to come back, you got Mo Salah, possibly our greatest modern player to come back. I don't know how many people that if you include, I don't know if you include McConnell or Bobby Clark, but with Bradley there, Kwanzaa, there's barely a player where if you picked any of them, you go, oh, I'm not sure about him.
Yeah.
And that's just testament to the management. Maybe Simicast, but
even then he did a brilliant job.
Exactly.
He got better the more games. Yeah, and that's one of the problems that we've overcome is lads not getting games. They're all getting games of football.
Just to keep it on the midfield thing, I thought it was most telling that in particular because you got Enzo Fernandez and you got Moises Caicedo in the midfield there. So Liverpool heavily linked with Fernandez, and Chelsea blow everyone out the water by paying the release fee. Ridiculous sum of money. And then, of course, we end up in that rather public, rather protracted, and at times portrayed as a bit embarrassing, losing out on Caicedo to Chelsea. Alexis Mac Allister we bought for 35 million as an 8. We bought Wataru Endo as a break glass. We need someone to come in and do that. So effectively for about 50 million quid, we've bought those two lads compared to the best part of 250 for what Chelsea were rocking there. I'd have what we've got any day of the week over what they bought there, but even just based solely on the performance from last night.
Absolutely. I mean, Enzo, as I said, in the first game of the season, everyone wanted him. They thought, well, this guy is absolute brilliant, and we just haven't got that kind of class. I mean, I don't think Caicedo's done anything yet, has he? He's still only young. Let's not forget. But he's got the weight of 115 million on his shoulders as the best midfield player in the world. Kind of nonsense. Mm-hmm. And he's never done anything yet. Which is not to say he won't, but I mean, Enzo was just outclassed. Mac Allister stood out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
Compared to him. I mean, our midfield were just awesome.
And I thought it was really funny because I've got so much Chelsea PTSD from the last sort of almost 2 decades of watching them with some of the best players in the world come up against us, and for the money they've paid, and you said at the top of the show like that on paper maybe similarities in quality or whatever. I actually disagree. I think but it was never more starkly contrasted, I think, Jamie, with how they performed, because our lads just wanted more, and this was not. It was like 5 minutes in, and I was like, oh, every time it went into midfield, oh God, we're going to lose this here. We're on the edge. That's not N'Golo Kante in that midfield. No. It's not Frank Lampard in that midfield. No. It's not even Kovacic. It's not Makelele. It's not even Dennis Wise. This is like that Chelsea team. There's levels, and I hate it's a bit of an overused modern sort of expression, but there's 20 points between us in the league, and it was so evident by the quality of the football, particularly in the middle of the park.
Yeah, I mean, there is quality there, and Sterling, you'd get it, and you think, oh, this is maybe a little bit dangerous. He's obviously a very fine player, but it was a bit similar to when Man U came a couple of years ago. I don't know which one of the hammerings it was, and then you look at like the team, and you're like, that's a Europa League team, that. And we're one of the best in Europe. And it was a bit similar last night. Like, it's not the players' fault for the money that they spend, but, if they live up to the potential, maybe they'll be great. The likes of Enzo and Caicedo, and they have got some good players, but they've got an agent, Thiago Silva. It's just, it's the levels in comparison to some of those Mourinho sides where you just go through 1 to 11 and you're like quality. It's not the same. So we owed him a beating, and we gave him one.
I totally agree on that one. People watching, just how much joy did it fill you with to see Mac Allister performing like that, particularly against someone like Moises Caicedo, obviously given the summer, because I'd almost forgotten about it, because that's how little Caicedo's been talked about. So it was lovely to watch.
It came back up because Klopp said something about we were lucky not to sign him, and everyone. I mean, he didn't mean it quite that way, but everyone went, He
said it in like the test event, didn't he, at the Anfield Road, and to all the people there had a good laugh at that. But yeah.
Do you remember Romeo Lavia?
Yep.
Do you remember him? Yeah.
Totally forgotten he existed. So I had a look at the list of players who were out injured last night, and I was looking, because I had it in my head. Obviously, we know Salah was out and whatever, but the missing players last night: Thiago Alcantara, Stefan Bajcetic, Ben Doak, Wataru Endo, Joel Matip, Mohamed Salah, and Kostas Tsimikas. And then I looked at their list, and it's like obviously Reece James would be in there, and Levi Colwill, but like there's Romeo Lavia. Oh God, yeah.
That was supposed to be 50 million. Like, I mean, he might end up a good player,
absolutely.
But a lot of these Bowley signings are going to have to start pulling up some trees soon with the 9-year contract.
So my good friend Chris Pajak has a trait on eBay of when he knows he's going to lose in an auction, he inflates the price to make the person who's going to win pay more for it, and that's the thing because he's a bad human being basically. But it's bit him on the arse once, I think, when he ended up paying like 100 quid over. Yeah, he won by accident. That's what I feel like with the Caicedo thing. It's like Liverpool just went for it. So here's the most we'll pay, knowing full well that Chelsea would pay more. And then Chelsea went out and spent stupid money. If they end up getting done for PSR because we've basically forced them into spending stupid money on Caicedo, that would be beyond the Michael Edwards level of 4D chess. This would be something else, something above and beyond.